Oh boy, I've never seen a game made so well. This is one of those rare games, and it has to be a gem if I'm bringing it up. If I even acknowledge a game, trust me, it's special. But I've never seen a game so well made and that can stand the test of time to the extent as this, but just artistically is just a mess. I'll get into what I'm saying. I'm gonna do two videos here. This is of course the first. And the second one is going to be, I guess, the following stage for it. This is called Marvel Nemesis on the GameCube emulator. I'm going to preface this also by saying the good thing about having an emulator is that it's capable of doing things that the console can't do. And that's of course raising the resolution. You can mod on an emulator. Some consoles you can mod too. But it's just a plethora of modifications you can make yourself to fix what's broken, essentially. Respectfully, of course. But this is my Marvel Nemesis. I'm going to simply do the story mode, and I'm going to do a new game. This video is just going to go through the very first stage, and I'm going to try my best to explain the method of my madness here. Again, I think this is one of the most well-made, underrated video games in existence. There's quite a few actually that Marvel created that people just didn't catch on to because it admittedly it had artistic choices that were questionable. So this is the first stage. I tried my best to add life into this game again. All of the textures are AI upscale times 6 minimum. As you can see, the color scheme has been completely reworked, to wake you up, opposing to lulling you to sleep as you watch it. And hopefully I've done a good job here. Aside from that, because it's on an emulator, it gives me the ability to apply what's called bump mapping, which is this insane 3D effect on the rock textures for the thing, for instance, that you're seeing here. It's pretty amazing. And this is also one of the features that an emulator has that a console doesn't. So I highly recommend, if you have a PC, picking this game up. As far as my modifications go, and it's not restricted to this stage, I went through the entire game. Yes, I ripped every texture file from the game and modified them. But specifically for this stage, I darkened the street first and foremost. It was gray, and it just blended in with everything else. And it's not very appealing to have a brighter road because in real life, roads are actually black unless they're unkempt dirt. But that's besides the point. I also added filters or embossing to majority of the metal textures, as you can see on this light post to the right. It's a very, it's just smart to do considering it gets bump mapped by the GameCube, or rather by the emulator itself. Man, I tell you, these cars are colored red now. Red just is more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It I'm an artist. Oh yeah, I would also like to say this was made by EA. EA is the company or a team of artists who take control of certain subsects of pretty much anything that's by Electronic Arts or by their company. But the EA artists are appreciated as well as the programmers. This is a good game. I love this game and I appreciate their attempt, but there's a lot of things that's questionable that they did artistically that I'm going to have harsh opinions about, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I do appreciate this. So, the color of the sky, originally it was purple, like a purplish blue. It looked pretty bad, to be honest. As you can see here, I went back and plugged orange because orange is the complementary color of the color blue. A lot of the steel and the railing in the default game was some dark green. I think it was just some dark muddy grayish tone that just blended with everything else, and it was very unappealing. And I think this is more on the lines of what steel and chrome should look like. Of course, the cars have been recolored. Get these out of the way here. The enemies, I completely overhauled the enemies. They're upscaled times 6 first and foremost. The colors have been completely reworked. This enemy was originally actually lit yellow. As you can see here, I turned him to his lights green because green is more well appealing, and it also bounces off of the stage, or it complements the stage better. Speaking of the stage, if you look out in the distance here, you'll notice there's a crazy thick hue of orange. The reason I chose this hue of orange, opposing to the odd green lasers the default game had spewing out at random, is because it indicates fire, flame, chaos. Speaking of chaos, you could probably see it. It's very detailed, but the wreckage back here, it's a 8K, excuse me, sorry, I was in the middle of talking. A mixture of 8K and 4K texture, or rather image, to give you not only the highest detail, but it also reduces the possibility of you being weirded out or irked, because it's looking like a picture. Sorry, I'm trying to speak and play. Majority of the bricks have been changed to red. I think red is way more pleasing to the eyes. It's also supplementary to the orange background, as you can see there. So they go together pretty well. This wood underneath the thing's feet, it's supposed to be like a pier, not actually a road. So I went ahead and colored it a more brownish tone with, of course, grayish white highlights on the edges. Of course, the taxi, I made the taxi a much brighter, more consistent yellow. As you can see, just looking at the thing, by the way, this is very close to its default orange texture. Um, it was just inconsistent. So with the taxi being a lot brighter and a lot more saturated, it's more consistent with the roster itself, actually. This game is so good, man. There's so many little nuances people miss too. For instance, this character, the Thing, he's one of the rare characters that when you jump onto objects, he can actually break them. He breaks objects by landing on them, which is, it doesn't sound like much, but that's actually a very rare thing you get to see in Marvel games that feature dense characters. Here's another example. Watch what happens to the car. Isn't that insane? I didn't press any attack buttons there. I was just simply jumping. That's another mechanic it blows my mind. This game has so many little nuances to it that people don't respect and acknowledge, which is me basically paying homage or respect to the designers. Look how beautiful this orange, red, and even the grays to an extent blend together. I think this is leaps and bounds better than the default game. That's of course an opinion. See the green truck? The enemies have been overhauled. They've been bump mapped. I personally filtered them and bump mapped them accordingly. And of course adjusted the color scheme to be something less ridiculous and more consistent. Let's see if I can get a good view. Look how beautiful all the colors blend together. Okay, alright, you're gonna annoy me here. Yeah, he's gonna annoy me. Look how beautiful this stage looks with all this color. Doesn't this just wake you up? It should revitalize you. Video games should give you energy, not sap it. And unfortunately, the default game, too many blues and greens mixed together, like, and not enough attention paid to the color wheel. The color wheel is vitally important for artists in general. That's crazy. Thing is strong too. He could pick up a rig. Like, that's insane. Just like the muscle, the power required to do something like this, which I don't mind. Oh crap, crap. There's another nuance there. I couldn't run holding that rig, which makes sense. But if I had a car, I could sprint. It's just little things that EA did that's brilliant. Look how beautiful this looks. This looks like the Xbox version of the game. For those of you who don't know, the Xbox is a much more powerful system than the GameCube. That's why I bring it up. Alright, so I'm going to end the video here, and I'm going to do a part 2.